Version 6.5 banners are just a few weeks away, and with it, we are getting some of the most broken reruns and new units in the game. Especially Linnea, who is unlocking one of the strongest teams in the game alongside Zebai. Her value is extremely high. At the same time, we are also getting Nefer and Lauma, who are part of arguably the second strongest team archetype in the game right after Zebai and Linnea. So this patch is insanely stacked. We are literally getting the top two teams in the game back to back. And even if we ignore the DPS units themselves, the supports, Linnea and Lauma, are some of the most broken units on their own. They can buff even older DPS characters and help them clear content smoothly. So in this video, we are going to break down the best pull options in version 6.5, considering factors like future-proof value, free-to-play friendliness, and, most importantly, their advantages and disadvantages for your account, so you can make the best decision for your pulls. Let's start with the new unit, Linnea. If you want a deeper breakdown, make sure to check out my dedicated guide. In this video, we will focus on the key highlights and her pull value. Right now, Linnea is looking like one of the strongest sub-DPS buffers in the entire game, especially for Geo-related teams. She can be played in multiple types of teams. First, with older Geo DPS units, and even Hydro DPS units like Neuvillette in Lunar Crystallized setups. Second, in hybrid teams with other buffers and sub-DPS units, like Ineffa, Columbina, and Durin, which is personally one of my favorite team setups right now. And finally, in hypercarry teams with Zebai. In older teams, she mainly acts as a sub-DPS, and this is where her personal damage really becomes noticeable. Her weapon is also extremely valuable in these scenarios, as it buffs the entire team's Lunar Crystallized damage. The damage difference compared to her best free-to-play option, which is Slingshot, is around 10,000 DPS, making her weapon a very strong upgrade. Right now, she is almost as valuable as Columbina for Zebai teams. For the fourth slot, you can prioritize C6 Iluga, then C6 Goru, and then C2 Iluga. Her burst is mainly for healing, so it is not a major priority, especially since most Geo characters scale with defense anyway. However, in teams where you play Furina, her healing becomes much more valuable. One of her biggest advantages is that she is extremely free-to-play friendly. She works well with Slingshot, fits into both older and newer DPS teams, and as a support sub-DPS, you can fit her into almost any team where you need healing and off-field damage. Alongside a standard support like Columbina, she can easily carry older DPS units, similar to how Ineffa and Columbina did. Of course, Ineffa has an advantage because she is Electro, which allows her to fit into more team options. And that is one of the few disadvantages Linnea has compared to Ineffa. We will talk more about her pull value when comparing her to other top supports. But before that, a quick message. If you play multiple games and regularly do top-ups, make sure to check out Loot Bar. It is currently one of the best third-party top-up platforms, supporting multiple games, both gacha and non-gacha. Right now, Hoyoverse top-ups are temporarily unavailable, but they should be back soon. You can use my links below to get the best discounts for your favorite games. Alright, now coming back to the video. Now let's talk about Loma, another insanely strong support releasing in this patch. She is currently looking like the best Dendro unit in the game. It is a bit difficult to compare her directly with Ineffa or Linnea because those two are more like sub-DPS units with buffs and sustain, while Loma is a pure Dendro support. Loma provides extremely strong buffs, including Resistant Shred, direct Lunar Bloom and Hyper Bloom buffs, and even additional crit for Dendro reactions. Because she's Dendro, her team options are much wider. Currently, she fits into multiple archetypes. First, Hyper Bloom teams with characters like Nahida or Alhaitham. Second, as a support for Dendro Hypercarry DPS units like Kinich or Nefer.
For example, in a Kinich team, she can provide around 25% Dendro resistant shred, along with TTDS buffs and other utility. And finally, Bloom-based teams, with Columbina, Nefer, or even Hydro DPS units like Neuvillette, thanks to her Hydro-resistant shred. Now talking about how free-to-play she is. Her requirements are almost nothing. She does not rely on a signature weapon. You can give her any decent elemental mastery weapon, and she's ready to go. She's extremely easy to build. Just get a decent crit ratio and stack elemental mastery to maximize her buffs, making her one of the best options for free-to-play players.
What really makes her a must-pull for free-to-play players is her Hyperbloom teams. Hyperbloom is currently one of the best team archetypes for any free-to-play player, mainly because of how accessible it is. A team like Xingqiu, Kuki, and Dendro Traveler alongside Lauma can clear most of the content in the game without needing any 5-star weapons or insane builds, and that alone shows how strong this team really is. Lauma is essentially the core of Hyperbloom teams, and every low-spending player should have at least one strong Hyperbloom setup. Now, let's actually decide who is the better option for you. Linnea, Lauma, or should you skip both for future units like Nicole or Sandrone? As mentioned earlier, unlike Ineffa, both Lauma and Linnea have slightly more limited team coverage. However, Lauma can fit into almost any Dendro-based team, so if you do not already have a strong Dendro unit, she is easily the best starting point. She is currently the most valuable Dendro character in the game, and honestly, no one comes close to her. The same applies if you are planning to pull Nefer. Now, Linnea is a bit different. Since she's Geo and part of the strongest team in the game, her value is also extremely high, but she is not a must-pull. Zibai is still very strong even without Linnea, although Linnea does make the team significantly stronger. Apart from that, if you want to play older Geo teams, then Linnea becomes a must-pull, since she is the best support for them. But compared to Ineffa, her flexibility is lower because Geo does not fit into as many teams without disrupting reactions. So the answer is actually simple. Lauma is generally the better option because Dendro as an element has far more team variety, while Linnea is still an excellent pick if you specifically want to invest into Geo teams. So it really depends on what your account needs. Now, talking about the future, both of them look very future-proof in what they do, and both are strong long-term investments. At the same time, upcoming units like Nicole and Sandrone might create some confusion, especially if you already have Varka or if you want to play older Mondstadt units. There are also rumors about more Hexery buffs for characters like Eula, Mika, and Jean, so you also need to think about whether you want to invest into those older units. We have already made multiple videos on these topics, including a detailed breakdown of Nicole, so make sure to check those out. I hope this video helped you. Until next time.